Okay, so we are gonna talk about I'm gonna talk about the lead sheet. So I will show you a few examples of how the lead sheets look like, different types of lead sheets. And I will give you examples of how to play it, how to practice it, and so on. So I'm gonna mute everyone for now. And if you have questions, you can write in the chat room, or in the end, I'm gonna unmute everyone. Okay, so I will share some screens. Have you heard of iReal Pro? If you have never heard of it, okay. If I share screen right now, you can see the app. It's about like $15. So this is my iPad screen, but this is iReal Pro. And if I touch this, so you pay about $15 for the app, and then you get thousands of lead sheets. And this is the typical example of lead sheet. So there are no notes at all, right? Just the chord progressions. So this is a typical jazz lead sheet. And then if I play, you can hear bass piano. And then you can practice the chords. And they highlight the chords, right? And then there's a metronome tempo change. So it was 100, but if you want to practice, oh, I should click here. Slower, you can change it to slower tempo like that. So this is a very typical jazz lead sheet. And then if you look at these letter names, like C is a chord name for C, and there's minus means minor, seventh. So if you don't know these numbers, 7 or 13 or 6, that's okay for now. You can just play C minor triad, because if you have done major and minor 5-finger patterns, you should be able to follow this one. Okay, and then I will show you another lead sheet, same autumn leaves, but it looks different. So hold on a second. Okay. So I'm muting everyone. And then I will share the second score of same piece, autumn leaves. It's taking time to share. Okay, so this is same autumn leaves, but this lead sheet has a melody. So right hand plays these notes, G, A, B flat, E flat, right? And then this one right here is the left hand chord. And then the other lead sheet I just showed you, it had a minus, that means minor. And this one says, instead of minus, it says MI. It's also C minor 7th. And then the other one was C minor 7th too. So once again, if you don't know these numbers yet, you can just play C minor triad. So if I play C minor triad, and then F major, B flat major, and so on. So as long as you know the 5-finger patterns and the triads, you can play the left hand all the way through. And then for the right hand, you just follow these notes. For the other lead sheet, because there was no melody line for the right hand, you should be able to hear the famous melody on YouTube or something, and then be able to guess the melody or sing along and try to play that melody. Okay, now I'm gonna show you the third example of what happened. Masterclass. Yeah. Okay, so before I do that, on Google Drive, I shared a library with everyone, if you remember. So under the library, there are these many folders. So beginner's repertoire, intermediate repertoire, blah, blah, blah. So if you want to add more pieces for your 30-piece challenge, you can click these folders and there are a bunch of pieces. And then under here, there's a lead sheet folder right here. And then if I click this one, so you can go there. There's autumn leaves. I'm clicking the other. Autumn leaves you just saw. So if you want to learn this one, you can do that. And then there's a top 10 pop songs lead sheet. So I'm going to open this one. Okay. And then there are 10 pieces, but today I'm going to look at the Hey Jude, because everybody knows the Beatles' Hey Jude, right? I hope. So for this lead sheet, okay, the verse, it says C, G, G7, C. Can you see okay? And you can open it on your laptop if you want to from the library. And F, C, G, C. Okay. So it's in the key of C. It says Hey Jude in C. So C major triad is a one chord of C. Hold on. I want to write it down. So I want to change the screen to fourth chord. Hey Jude. So in the key of C, do you understand if I write the Roman numeral 1? And in the key of C, I'm sure a lot of you know, G major is a Roman numeral 5. And then G7 is 5, 7. C is 1, and so on. So I have a few new students who started in the last 3 months. So maybe you haven't done it yet. So don't worry, we're going to cover that sometime later. But it's good to kind of listen to it so you can, hold on. I'm sure. So when you learn it, it's going to click. And then F is a 4 chord. C is 1, G is 5, C is 1. So as you see in this verse part, these are primary triads, if you know. Primary triads are 1, 4, and 5 or 5, 7. So let me go to some of you have the scale book. So I'm going to share the scale book for now. Scale skills. Somehow I don't. Scale skills. So for this scale skills book, you can see in C major, you can see the Roman numerals. And if you see the bottom notes, it's a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then another C. So these are letter names for the bottom notes because these are all root positions. And then 1 chord, 4, 5, these are primary chords. So if you look at the bottom of the page, primary chord progression, I highly suggest you to practice this so that you can play pop music like Hey Jude. So going back to Hey Jude. Oh, I opened the other one. Okay, so I'm gonna play the first part of Hey Jude. So here is the lyrics. You can see lyrics, and then this C, G, G7, C, it's the exact same chord progression from the top. So I will show you what to do. So when you see C, the easiest thing you can do is just play C for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I show you from the top of the piano, is that easier? You think? Why I'm not seeing myself on the screen? Maybe because I'm sharing. Hold on. Nope. 2-second screen. Sorry, I need to move my camera. Don't get dizzy. Don't look at me. Do not look at me. Okay. Kind of. So if you can still see the score, there's a C chord. 2, 3, 4. C is on the bottom. If you wanna do just the root position, you can go to G. G is on the bottom, and then G7. Go back to C. The easiest practice is you can go C, G, G, C. So I'm gonna play this with the melody. So for the melody, you listen to the music and kind of guess what's the melody is like. So I'm not looking at any notes, but do you know how it worked? I went to G lower because I was gonna crash the melody line. So that's one way of practicing. Or if you know inversions, so instead of playing G, B, D, here for the G major chord, you can bring the G 1 octave higher, G, B, D. This is still a G major chord. So if you don't want to move the left hand, so as long as you know the meaning of these chord symbols, you can play pop songs. So let's look at the second line. Second line, it has F. F is a 4 chord. So either you go down to F, A, C, or you can use F, A, C so that you don't need to move your hand. These are both F major chord. And I would rather not to move too much. So instead of going from C major to F major like that, I would use C major to F major like this. And then second line, F major, C again, and then G. So instead of G, B, D here, I would use G, B, D here. And then C. So I will play the first 8 measures. F, so this is the first verse of the Hey Jude, and then second one is the repeat. And then there's a chorus and other sections. So as I always talk to you during the lesson, these primary chords are very important. So I would really practice the primary chord progression. 1, 4, 1, 5, 5, 7, 1. After you master the 5-finger patterns, I would definitely practice that. And okay, I want to talk about some different patterns of the accompaniment. So the easiest one is just play the root for the C major and then go to G, G7, C, and F, C, G, C. I would say the second easiest one would be just playing the triads at the root position. C major, going to G major, G7, C, and F, C, G, and then C. And the root positions are easier to think about the chords, but harder to play because you need to move your hand on time. So if you, for the next step, like I showed you before, you can do the inversions, closest inversions. Okay. And then when you go, if you want to change yourself, you can do arpeggio. Like this for G major, G7. So that's another type of accompaniment. Or C, G, G7, C. You can do any rhythm you want as long as you know the chord. So it's very super important to know the 5-finger patterns. And most of you maybe don't know the meaning of C/E or D minor 7/C. That's okay. But if I briefly explain that this means C major chord, sorry, I moved. C major chord, but bring E to the bottom. So C major chord is C, E, G. But to make E as a bottom note, I need to bring the C to the top. So that's what it means. Okay, I'm gonna stop share, and I will open up to the, hold on, let me show myself. Does anyone have questions? You can unmute yourself if you unmute all. If you have questions, you can unmute yourself. Or was it confusing?
I have a question. On the iReal Pro, what was the delta symbol? What does that mean again?
Delta? What's the?
Triangle. It's C
Oh,
triangle 7. Is that major or
C major 7.
okay?
Maybe, okay, I have something in the chat room. I can see it fine. Okay. So let me not chat, share the screen, whiteboard. So my handwriting will be messy, but okay, whiteboard share. So if you see C triangle 7, oh, 7 is cricket, means C, like, no, C, sorry. The different chart writes different stuff. C major? No, I changed something. C major 7. And then C minus 7 means C small m, or sometimes mi 7 minus 7. C7 is a dominant 7. It's always dominant. Dominant. I would write 5-7. Yeah, dominant 7. And then if there's a C circle with a line, it's half diminished, and then C circle 7, that's diminished. And different scores write different stuff. Is it okay, Lisa? Any other questions?
Hey Amy, what does dominant mean again?
Dominant means the fifth chord. So let me show you the scale book. It doesn't have to be this scale book, but this one shows you. Okay, so let me share the screen. Okay, so on the second line, for the tonic, it's Roman numeral 1, and it says tonic, which is built on the first note of the scale. And then fast forward to fourth note of the scale, which is F. And if you build a chord on F, that's full chord or subdominant chord. And then if you build a chord on top of the fifth note, that's a dominant chord. Is it clear? And these
Yes,
three are the most important chords. Well, tonic is the most important. I would say dominant is the second important chord, and then the subdominant. Because we use these chords for any type of music, classical to pop to country, rock, nursery rhymes, anything. However, for the jazz musicians, they use 2-5-1 a lot. So it's good to know 2 chord as well. Any questions? So then I said you can make up a lot of different kind of accompaniment pattern. So I want to show you one of the books. It has the accompaniment pattern. Okay. And then can I change? Sorry, I need to change my camera before I share screen. Okay, and then share screen. Thank you for waiting. So it's gonna show, okay, on top, it says C, F, G, F. So it's once again 1, 4, 5, 4, or tonic, subdominant, dominant, subdominant, and then the repeat sign. So once again, this exercise or creating an accompaniment, this is a primary chords. So if you don't want to play chords yet, you can just do C, 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 F, F, G, G, F, F, C. If you wanna improvise it, you can just use this one note to improvise, but make the rhythm very interesting. You can still create a music with just using these C, F, G, F. Now, if you look at the second line, sorry, my cursor is. Right hand is playing a broken C major chord. C, E, G. Left hand is playing the same pattern as before. And then F major, F, A, C, G, B, D, F, A, C again. And then if you want to change the right hand, you can use these 3 notes and then change it up and add some interesting rhythm. So you can make up anything. The most important thing is to keep a steady beat. So you should either practice with a metronome or use like an Ideal Pro's drum track to keep a steady beat. So if you look at the next line, right hand still plays C, E, G, but it's a different pattern. C major, and then F major, G major, F major. And then left hand doesn't do the rhythm anymore, it's just holding with a whole note. C major, F major, G major, F major, C. And then the last line, C, E, G. Again, same notes, but different rhythm. F, G, F. So I would practice something like that. You can create any patterns you want. At first, I wouldn't use other notes than chord tones. These are chord tones: C, E, G for C major, F, A, C for F major, G, B, D for G major. So I'm gonna make up something with this chord progression, but I'm not gonna follow the pattern you are seeing on the screen, but I will make up something. But I will keep following C, F, G, F. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. So you can create music like that, and it's a lot of fun, especially when you play with drum sound. Maybe it's a lot of information, but do you have any questions? I will change my camera. Anybody? Lisa? Should I ask you to unmute?
When you go back to the iReal Pro to make sure I saw all the special symbols.
Oh, do you want me to share iReal Pro? Okay. So, share screen, iReal Pro. So, iReal Pro is really good. It's $15, but I would get it. And you can get 3,000 sheet music. So it looks like this, like a flat sign, tilted. And, okay.
That D dominant 7, add the 13, add the flat 13. That's what.
Yes, that's what it means. Mm-hmm. And then like this one, G minor at the 6th. And then like as we talked, it's B flat major 7th. And Lisa, you are doing major 7th and dominant 7th? So these are two different chords, major 7th and dominant 7th.
Right. Okay, I see this.
Yeah. And then this one, circle with the slash, that's a half diminished 7th, right? Yeah, so these numbers are intervals. If you are interested, I can get there. I mean, I can explain that to you during the lesson, but the first step is to master the 5-finger patterns, major and minor. The next step would be major, minor, full scales. So you know the scale tones. And then after that, you can start adding 7th chord, 9th, 11th, and 13th. Anybody questions?
What comes after that? After you add the 13? Then what?
So when you start adding 9th, 11th, 13th, there are like sharp 9, flat 9, sharp 11, not much flat 11, but flat 13 kind of thing. Yeah. So there are tons of chords. So the most basic one is coming from major and minor triad. And then we expand from there to the 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th. And then to be able to play in any inversions, like closest inversions of all these 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th chords, it's hard. It's very challenging. I'm still practicing those. Yeah. But step by step, everyone can get there. Everybody else is so quiet. No questions? No? Any more questions, Lisa?
No.
No? Okay, so if you want to include some of the lead sheet music in your lessons, we can definitely do it. And when you play it, when you can play it, I can count that as one of your 30-piece challenge pieces. So we can improvise. We can even improvise together online. I mean, on Zoom lessons. I have done it with other students or with my piano partner. Okay, so I don't see everybody's faces, but good to see you and thank you for joining. About in 1 hour, there is an online concert. The sad news is it was supposed to be like two sections. Some of you have come to my real concert every year in person, and this year it's online. Usually it's about 1 hour or 1.5 hours of the concert. Because of the storm and the crazy weather, the recording sessions were postponed twice. So the sound engineer and the videographer didn't have enough time to edit everything. So I think we are going to show the Schumann Carnival with 21 movements tonight and other ensembles and solos at another night. So I'm a little bit disappointed that they cannot show everything, but it's going to be a great Schumann piece. And there are many good pianists there, so I hope you enjoy it. And it's going to be at Steinway, Texas YouTube channel. So if you didn't sign up, it's okay. You can just go to their YouTube channel. Okay, any questions? Okay. All right. So I will see you at your next lesson. And then don't feel like, oh, I'm practicing so much, but I can't get this, or I feel stupid. Like I feel that all the time. Like, why can't I get this? And especially playing with fabulous pianists, like tonight's pianist, I feel so pressured. I feel like how come I need to spend many hours? Maybe they spend for a few hours and I'm spending hundreds of thousands of hours. But I think everybody feels that way when you are learning challenging pieces. But when you can actually play it, you feel very good. Yeah, so I don't want you to give up. I want you to enjoy the journey. And I can see everyone is improving. So keep trying and keep having fun and keep practicing. Okay, thank you so much. So I will see you in your next lesson, at your next lesson.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.